lives to God. We even see with Anna, we see that after she saw Jesus, what did she go do? Everyone she talked with, she was making known, here's this baby Jesus, this one's the Messiah. See, look at how they were in their elderly age, and yet they were proclaiming the Messiah has come. They had done some great things in their older age. And I want us to understand that God rewards those who have devoted their lives to doing His will. But also, God builds upon the successes of the past and builds up into the future. These two people proclaimed what Jesus would do, and Jesus did it. Jesus' ministry was able to be done because of the prior work of those who God used to bring about and prepare the way for the Lord. One of the things that I think about is I want us to value people of age. Because we live in a culture and we live in a world where culture is changing so rapidly. We continue to deify youth. Technology is going off, but it's time for us to maybe slow down and appreciate what God has given us. Do we value and take time to respect our elders? Do we sit at the feet of those who suffered the battle wounds of the spiritual war where they have done God's will? Do we look at the lives of faith, of perseverance, and say, teach me how to do what you have done so that I will not give up my salvation. I will continually do God's will. I want you to realize your prayer lives can be so powerful, those of age, because you have practiced and committed your lives to God. And so when you speak, God listens. And I think that's why you can be powerful. Why was Anna powerful? Because she spent day and night in prayer, and God listened to her. And I believe that's something that you have offered up, a lifetime of prayer, a lifetime of service, a lifetime of an example on how we can live. One of the things that I think about is I thank God. I want us to be thankful for the church. I want us to be thankful for those who are our senior saints. Because there's a lot of things that I'm thankful for of our senior saints. I'm thankful for the stories and your stories. The stories that you have told about how you have done great things for God. How God has been powerful in your life. How when things were down and you were struggling and you didn't know how to do things and you don't know what choices to make, God came and to your aid and followed through. And that just convicted your faith. I've been impacted by that. I have been thankful about how generous you have been. How you've given your lives. How you've been hospitable. How you've opened up your homes. One of the amazing things is so many of our elderly are those who are very generous. They have helped provide meals when people are sick. They provide flowers when people are sick. They give generously to the church. I even think about how when Disney and I decided to do foster care, without me even saying anything or even asking for anything, because I did it, some people came starting and knocking on the door, giving us clothes for the babies, and making blankets for the boys. And I just think, you know what? They're so generous. They understand the impact of generosity because they've lived in a lifetime of understanding the blessing of giving. Another thing that I'm thankful for is I'm thankful for your presence. One of the things that I love is our elderly people have such a heart of commitment. When I look at our Bible classes and our services and our worship attendances, one of the biggest groups that is faithful is our elderly. Now they can make excuses, they can say, you know, my age, this and that, but they don't do that. They come and they have a good attitude. And you know, for me, it sets a good example. Saying, you know what, I could make excuses, I could be busy, but these are people who have taught me, you know what, the priority is to worship God, to encourage one another, to love and worship God together with one heart, one voice. I've been edified, and throughout my childhood, I've always witnessed that. And that was something that stuck with me. Even after Disney and I got married, we never missed worship services or Bible classes because we have both had examples in our life of elderly people who set an example of saying this is a priority. Another blessing that I have for the church is the involvement and the work that they have done. You know, one of the things I really respect about the older generations is the work ethic. Maybe because they valued honor, they valued work, they valued all these different things. Where the younger generations are pretty lazy, if you admit it. But I admire their work ethic. And I have seen some amazing things. I mean, I look at Dick, and he was there in the hot summer sun, and he was working harder and faster than I was on the ceiling and on the roof of our church building. He's nailing, and I'm like, I'm trying to catch up. And I'm thinking, look how amazing that guy is. No one asked him to do that. No one forced him to do that. And he's outpacing me. Don't worry, in 10 years I'll probably get you. Probably not, actually. I'm not very handy. But I just think about the work ethic that you guys have. And I just think, you know what? I want to be one who is alongside you before Jesus Christ that says, where when I hear him say the words, well done, good and faithful servant. Because you understand the concept of working hard, working with your hands. And as we're reading Ecclesiastes, God's lot for your life is to work hard for him. And so that's one of the things that has been a blessing. Another thing that I'm thankful for our elderly is your friendship. I don't know if anyone knows this, but I love getting around our elderly in more casual settings. You know, outside of the church building, outside of this, even playing Princess Uno and all these different things, because they're funny. Our elderly people are funny, and they're feisty, and they're witty, and they're smart, and they have sarcasm that just makes me laugh and chuckle throughout the week. And I appreciate that. I love laughing together. I love having that friendship. And that's something that I appreciate. That God shows, you know what, Jesus Christ unifies all people together, regardless of differences, and even including generational differences, he can still bring them together. And they can still be one body, one family, one set of friends. Another blessing that I think about and why I'm calling upon all these people who have older age, I want you to realize how God may not be done with you yet. How God can do amazing things through you. One of the things that I've done is I've done a lot of research on this, and I'm realizing in trends of people coming to Christ, a lot of younger people are starting to seek God again. Starting to consider maybe the Bible may have something to it. But one of the things that they've also noticed is that they've seen that this is leading an opportunity for our elderly to be involved in the church and in evangelism. Because a lot of young people have a lot of instability and a lot of stress and a lot of brokenness in their lives because they have come from broken homes. And they've actually been seeing that a lot of places that are growing and evangelizing, a lot of it's been at the feet of the elderly in the church. Because they help provide the wisdom and the stability that a lot of these younger generations, kids, don't have. They didn't have it. They didn't have that wisdom. They didn't have that guidance. They didn't have that structure. And so a lot of people are coming to the church and surrounding themselves with the elderly and actually realizing, you know what? These are the grandmothers and the grandfathers that I wished I had when I was growing up. That I longed for my whole life. And you know what? I think about that and think, you know what? You could be that evangelistic force in the church here and now because of what you have done. You could be like Anna and tell everyone about Jesus. God's not finished with anyone here yet. You know, we've over the last year or two, we've introduced our church vision to glorify God by being disciples and making disciples. And we've introduced this year's theme of being courageous, faith, and action. We've got to have that courage. We've got to have that faith. We think about Joshua and how he led the people to conquer Jericho, and he did that in his 80s. We're gonna do a lot of amazing things by faith, and a lot of it's going to be done because our elderly is going to lead the way by their faith and by their prayers and by their courage, because they all have lived a lifetime of seeing what God can do through his people. I honestly believe that our senior saints make us stronger because God has gifted you spiritually with your gifts, with your experience, and with your wisdom. And for those who may be younger, let's appreciate and value them. Let us remember that God has always used people of age like